Things have been silent, and I think it's about time for a brand new character wish list. I haven't done one of these in a while, ever since the game first came out from a while back. We're in 2023 now, and I think it's a good time to really start talking about these characters. I'm not sure what the developers are up to. I wish I knew, and I'm hoping to hear some kind of post from them soon in regards to the future of the game. And we don't know what's going on. We don't know what to expect. We don't even know what's real and what's fake, I'll just say. And I just thought I'd make my own wish list to kick off the new year. We're only a few days in, and it's a good time to get some thoughts about these characters. And my list might be different from yours. I have so many characters that I wanted to put into my list, and I only selected about 25 to 30 characters. And I feel like this game can have hundreds of characters from these different shows, and even when you look at this screen, it needs to be updated, because we have Jeannie Wakeman, we have Hugh Neutron, and now we have recently gotten Rocco as our recent new character. We're going to open up the roster, we're going to start talking about this game, and it's not just a character wish list, it's just hopes and wishes for what I would want to see for this game, and things that they can bring out for new updates, and not just settling with that one character that comes out and then no one else gets into the game, or new modes, no other further improvements are being made for the game itself. I want them to keep on bringing out content for the game, and even when a new character comes out, well, you play as the character, you played as the new character, you try them out in the training mode, you complete the arcade, and then you take them online for a little bit, and then you just stop playing and then you move on. I want them to at least bring more modes, so that way it brings more people to the game and people can play together. And that's why I think that crossplay is just one of the most important things for this game. I don't even know what's going on with crossplay, because we haven't heard about the status update. We don't know what's going on, if it's still going to be added into the game. So I'm hoping to hear something. Hopefully we get some kind of public post what's going to happen for the future of the game. Is crossplay still in the works, or did it get shut down? Did it get canceled and did they backpedal? Who knows? So hopefully we'll be able to find out something at some point, maybe in this week. But I'm kicking this week off with a wish list, and just for this All-Star Brawl game, I think it's one of my favorite Nickelodeon games that I play. And just getting into this game, it's been so funny, and just playing around offline with all these different characters, and just coming up with different ideas with characters I want to see. But now it's time for the wish list, and you don't have to watch the full video. If you want to take a look at my wish list, you could just easily just pause the video and head on down and scroll through the description if you want to see some of my characters that I'm going to be mentioning throughout this video, and then many more things that they can bring to the game itself. But not even just crossplay, but just so many different modes that I mentioned. From the story, if they can even expand the arcade, and then just bring more cooperative modes where we could play the arcade together, because you only could play this by yourself. You can't play with another friend or someone you're playing, hanging out with locally. You only could play and go through the arcade solo. So that's something that they could really do as additional, just some ideas. But let's open up the roster. Let's start talking about these characters from my 2023 wish list. And we're going to put it right on Rocco, because he's our most recent character that we got in the game. And I'll be going through the roster wish list and more, just as I talk about different shows that's represented from the NCU. And this NCU is such a big sort of world. It's a big place where you don't have to just go back to the same worlds and rely on that one show to really get people playing the game. New characters in general will get people playing the game. New content, new updates, and more will get people playing the game and talking about this game. And it's just so many characters that they can add. And this is such a nice roster. Just take a look at these characters on the screen for a second. It doesn't matter who you play. It doesn't matter which show you like the most. You gotta admit that this roster is pretty good. It's a really great roster, and you can see so many characters that's missing in this roster. And just for starters, you don't even have all the Ninja Turtles in the game. So that's something that can really be noticed if you're a TMNT fan. Where's Raphael and Donatello? They're missing. They're not even in the game. And then you got 2 of the Louds for the siblings. You got an Earthbender, and then you got Aang, 2 avatars from Aang and Korra. And then you got single reps, starting from Zim all the way down. From Zim to Rocco is only single reps. And then the same thing can be said with Korra, the Legend of Korra. She has different individual characters and antagonists in comparison to Aang for Last Airbender. So she could be associated as single reps. But everybody else in the game, they got multiple characters and multiple representations from their worlds and from their shows. But let's get started. And of course I put Timmy Turner at the top because he's just one of my most wanted characters. It might take a little bit longer to get him in. I don't even know if it's possible to get him in. But just considering the fact, I'm just throwing it out there. They got him in the mobile game Nickelodeon Extreme Tennis. I don't even play mobile games as much because it just drains and eats away at your battery, and it takes so much storage. And within every update, it's just going to get bigger and bigger on your phone. So I play mobile games every now and then, but how did he get into that mobile game? And I just don't know the story. Trying to get the rights and the licensing for Timmy Turner, it just seems like it's a stretch. So I still want to see him in the game. Maybe it's possible we could see him in the near future at some point. Maybe he's going to be in a different game. The guy hasn't had a game in multiple generations. We up in the PS5 next generation gaming era, and he hasn't even been in a game on a console in quite some time. And they just recently put him in a mobile game. And that's what just makes me think that it just opens up the door a little bit slightly. Because if he got into this mobile game, what's stopping him from getting into Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl and these other games that's out there that's existing, Kart Racers 3, they could get him as DLC. It makes it seem like it's a little bit more possible. But I just don't know the full story in regards to what it takes to get him. And I'm sure someone out there can really elaborate, and many of you guys will be able to elaborate in the comments and what's going on with him. How can we even get a chance to get him added into this game when he seems to be so difficult? It's like you're constantly running into a brick wall hoping to get through. You're not going to break through. Just trying to get that one character. But just like I was saying before, they don't have to try to get him right away. Try to get him at a later date if possible. But he's just the beginning of this list. Trying to get Fairly OddParents characters is such a stretch. It's so difficult. But now we're just going to start going through these characters. The next character I'm going with is Jimmy Neutron. We got a Jimmy Neutron rep. We got the Duck Pi 11 Hugh Neutron. See what I'm saying? So we got him, so we don't have to settle with just him being in the game. And he's one of my favorites, one of the goofiest characters to play, but he has some really nice moves, and they really made his character model look good. His costume could have been a little bit better, of course, with the cool hue, something like that. I would have wanted to see something like that, but this is something that's also a great fit and a good reference to the show with his duck hat. So I would like Jimmy Neutron to get into the game, and he's just another top pick, and I think he seems more likely in comparison to Timmy Turner and Jimmy Neutron. When you think about the characters, now that you guys see Hugh Neutron's in the game, but it's more likely that Jimmy Neutron could have the highest chance and the good probability of him getting in because they already got the rights to Jimmy Neutron, to Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius, or the Adventures of Jimmy Neutron, whatever you want to call it. Show in a movie, so you can get more characters from the show, and then you start with the icon and the star himself, Jimmy Neutron. So we might end up seeing him very soon. Squidward, let's head on over to the Spongebob reps. You got 3 Spongebob characters in the game. Squidward would be an iconic character, and I know a lot of people want to see him. I think he's going to be super fun. They got 3 characters. SpongeBob, Patrick, and Sandy. You don't stop there. You got Mr. Krabs, Squidward, Larry the Lobster, Plankton that could come out with Karen as a duo. From my personal idea that I came up with, Plankton doesn't need to come out as a solo character. He could come out and be playable as a duo with Karen in the mech. And then you have other potential characters like Larry the Lobster, Bubble Buddy, Doodle Bob, and Dennis the Hitman, King Neptune. SpongeBob has a lot of great characters that they could really put into this game to really get a chance to shine. So Squidward is just one of the most iconic. Those are just top characters that people want to see. And then another is just going through. SpongeBob is just so iconic. They could definitely easily get Squidward and Mr. Krabs and many other SpongeBob reps to stack up the roster. It's only 3 of these characters. TMNT got 4 characters, so they could definitely get a 4th, 5th, and so many more to get into the roster. El Tigre, shows like El Tigre, I just really think he's underrated. The Adventures of Manny Rivera, aka El Tigre, I think he'll be easily one of the best characters to get in. He's another character I want to see that I put in my list. Frida, his best friend that watches over him, looks after him, stuff like that he's really close to, she could be a separate character too. But they have other characters that can get in too from El Tigre for antagonists. And then something a little bit different, a live action character. How about one live action character to really break down those walls, like the Amazing Kreskin? He has such great potential with his psychic ability, a psychic magician. And just when you think of a psychic and a magician, all types of magic and sort of telekinesis and all those different abilities that come to mind, that's just endless moveset potential. So I had to get Kreskin up in here for a live action character, just for something different to make the list a little bit more unique instead of just new tunes. And he's a Nickelodeon original from the 90s. And he's canon to the universe. Didn't know that at first, but I found that out after a while. So he could definitely be able to get in here and shine and be able to hypnotize some of these players and some of these characters. He'll be a really awesome to play as. Let's get some more villains in this game. You got Shredder and Zim. I don't know. Is Zim really an iconic antagonist for this game? Or is he a full-on antagonist? We don't know. But Shredder, for sure, he's definitely a villain. But just when you look at it, whether you're thinking about Zim or Shredder, look at everybody else that's in the roster. Nobody else on this roster is an antagonist like them. They're completely outnumbered. This roster, it has an abundance of protagonist characters and or heroes that just can completely outnumber Shredder. And we definitely need some villains like Queen Vexus. You got XJ9 or aka Jenny Wakeman. Why not put the queen of the cluster into the roster to join the likes of Jenny to go head to head and just be able to show down and battle it out and see who comes out as the victor, things like that. And then Vlad Plasmius I added into my list. The Angry Beavers, you got one duo, well 2 duos at that, Ren and Stimpy and Cat Dog. But you only basically have 2 duos, so I had to get the Angry Beavers. Daggett and Norbert still fit in the game, and people don't really talk too much about this show. As told by Ginger, I put Ginger Foutley in my list as for someone different. You can add on to characters and have Ginger battle against April, Toph, Cora, and just Lucy Lau, Ablina, things like that, to really be able to stack up to get the variety of shows that's missing. As told by Ginger can't get represented, and I already mentioned Plankton and Karen. Plankton with Karen can also be able to be in there with them as a lights of a additional duo, a duo fighter, but it also adds on, not even just as a duo, but just another villain, an iconic villain from the Nickelodeon universe that can really be able to add on to the villains. Cindy Vortex has so much potential, I had to put her in. She's a real fighter, and I think she can really go down and go head to head with Cindy Vortex versus Sandy. That would really be a nice little showdown I would like to see happen. She in Kart Racers 3, she could be in Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl. More new shows like Tough Puppy, if you guys seen it, Dudley Puppy and Kitty Caswell, I would like either one of them to get into the game. More underrated shows alongside of El Tigre, shows like Rocket Power. I don't see many people talk about Rocket Power, so I put Auto Rocket in my list as one of the reps. They can get Auto Rocket, Reggie Rocket, Twister, or Sam, or aka Squid. I wouldn't mind having one of the Rockets or Rocket Power reps. That's all from the group. They hang out and do all these stunts at the skate park. surfing and stuff like that. I think Otto can have some really nice moves in this game. And then something additionally different, I had to go with Dora the Explorer, a Nick Jr. character. Anybody, I'm just glad that I'm not the only one. I seen a couple people, several people talking about Nick Jr. reps, and even if you don't agree with Dora the Explorer, it's the general fact that Nick Jr. characters have potential to be able to get into this game. And then some people say, oh, they're too little and they're too young, things like that. Look at these guys, and some people that knows so much about Loud House, they're talking about the age difference with Lincoln Loud and Lucy Loud. How are these little kids up in Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl with all this fight potential? Dora can't shine, and those other Nick Jr. characters, they could definitely get some representation. So I think Dora the Explorer can have all types of different moveset potential. So I had to drop some Nick Jr. characters like her to be able to get in. And she's iconic anyway. And then with the voice lines, just imagine just the things that she could say. It'll be really funny to see, but it's also going to be fun. And I think people will be interested in playing. It'll increase the sales too. People want to play this game. They're icons. So I think with Lincoln Loud and Lucy Loud, as young as they are, they can be able to get those kind of Nick Jr. characters to be able to shine. Maybe even with some better alternate costumes. And then another additional duo I had to put in here, another show that people don't really talk about, Kablam. Anybody seen Kablam out there? Anybody grew up watching the show? Henry and June could be another duo to join the likes of Cat Dog, Ren and Stimpy, and more. And then, who's got the chalk? Chalk Zone. Let's get some Chalk Zone characters in here. I put Snap in here. I don't believe Rudy and Snap should be a duo. They could be separate fighters, because considering the fact that Rudy has the power of the chalk, and he's the chalk holder. He's the one who has the chalk. He's the one who draws everything in the show. When Snap says, "Rudy, you gotta draw something," he always ends up saying that. So it's just such an iconic quote. Rudy, you gotta draw something. Why would they put them together as a duo? I mean, of course they're best friends. Snap can have his own individual moves, and we already got to see what he can do. He shut down that bully, and he couldn't even land a hit on Snap. Snap can be easily one of the best characters. So I had to get Snap in here for some Chalk Zone representation. Going back to Fairly Odd Parents, that's really a reach. Jordan Von Strangle could be one of the biggest characters. You can get giants like him to battle Reptar. Jordan Von Strangle will be huge in this game. He's the most powerful fairy in Fairy World. Why not get him? And then with Rugrats, see how I got Reptar. Speaking of the Rugrats for Reptar representations, I put Angelica in here. Why? Because I think she's the most fitting out of all the Rugrats kids to be able to get into Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl, to be a little bit more fitting. Yeah, she's a little bit older. She seems like she's going to be the one to be able to fit into the game. So I picked Angelica as my choice for my wish list. And then on top of that, let's head over here to the Wild Thornberries. Let's get wild for a little bit. Elijah Thornberry, I selected her in my wish list. You only got one rep. You only got Nigel Thornberry from Wild Thornberries. What's up with Eliza and maybe some others? People mentioned Donnie, and then the other ones that could be able to get in. Even her sister, I forgot her name. And then there's so many other characters in Wild Thornberries, but I think Elijah Thornberry definitely belongs. And if I remember correctly, she hasn't even been in a Nickelodeon game since that old Nicktoons racing game from PS1, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if I'm off, but let's see. I just think it was that PS1 Nickelodeon racing game. She hasn't really been in a Nickelodeon game. Nigel Thornberry is so much fun to play with too. Smashing! So they can get Eliza Thornberry to go alongside of the Wild Thornberries rep. She can just go right here. New DLC. The Barnyard, I selected Otis the Cow. I was gonna say Otis the Clown. You got new shows, like different shows like that could be represented. And then I put Mr. Krabs, going back into the world of SpongeBob. You can get Squidward or Mr. Krabs, but they both belong. Mighty B is Bessie Hickenbottom. I selected her to get in. Just another iconic character that people want to see and I just put her in my wish list for some different representation of characters. We need some more different shows to get in. Arnold is missing. You have one Hey Arnold rep. Helga is really awesome in this game and super fun. I also like her Christmas alternate costume. But she taught so much about Arnold. It's like he's like the missing link. And it'll be awesome if she could really have some kind of unique dialogue when Arnold gets into the game. Of course, he's not much of a fighter, but if you've seen that episode when he learns martial arts and gets taught karate and martial arts from his grandmother, he is so dangerous. And that's what the devs can really use and utilize for his moveset potential and make Arnold super crazy. He was destroying everybody with his martial arts. He was just going. He even went rogue a little bit. So he was just so into it and just prepared. So anybody that got near him, he just was shut down. So Arnold, I think, will really be a nice, good choice in a missing character that could be to be able to complete the series for Hey Arnold. I think he definitely needs to be in the game along with Helga, as great as she is. Anybody seen Winx Club? I selected Bloom, an iconic fairy with so much capability and power, along with her friends. Some of her other friends from the show from Winx Club can get in. They got a lot of potential. And then, just like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, you only got Michelangelo and Leonardo. You got two Ninja Turtles, and that's what I wanted to really ask. I wonder why did they only select Leonardo and Michelangelo? April has potential, and she's a great character, and Shredder's cool too. But you can't have the TMNT missing. It's incomplete. They're all brothers. You can't have one without the other. You got Leonardo, Michelangelo, but where's Raphael and Donatello? So I put Donatello or Raphael that they could possibly be able to get as additional DLC for maybe like a universe pack. They could do like a TMNT duo pack or something. Raphael and Donatello getting into Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl, one of the two. And then I'm getting close to wrapping up the list. We don't have a Fire Nation represented. Azula could be selectable, but I put Zuko because I like Zuko way better than Azula. But they both can be great in their own way. But Zuko is the one that was after the Avatar trying to capture Aang. Where's the Avatar trying to just hunt him down? Zuko is definitely a great character, and I think a lot of people will be happy to see a Fire Nation rep get in, and he can stack alongside the villains. I mean, he eventually became a protagonist and a hero, but he needs to be in the game too. And I'm gonna wrap this up with 3 final characters that are, I'll just say, like the biggest reaches in the game, just from my entire list. Even with Timmy Turner, as tough as he is to get, I put Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie version from Paramount, Doug, who's owned by Disney, and then Goku from Dragon Ball, or basically from Dragon Ball Z, but Dragon Ball Z Kai aired on Nickelodeon, so maybe it gives you that little smidge, little time, sort of kind of chance to get Goku. Sonic the Hedgehog, Doug, and Goku. You can't get any bigger than that. That's gonna definitely get a lot of people into this game. Doug being owned by Disney, I don't know what's going on with him, and I don't even know what they recently did with him. But when I grew up watching it, he was already still on Nickelodeon, and him finding out that he's now owned by Disney, that was something brand new to me. So I never knew that they really just snagged him up and snatched him like that, and just took and stole Doug and just moved him into Disney. So he's Disney property now. But with Paramount, with Sonic the Hedgehog, I think that's a good chance. Because most of you say Paramount owns Nickelodeon now, so maybe that opens the door getting Sonic the Hedgehog and maybe some of his buddies, Tails and Knuckles, to get into the game from Paramount, the Sonic the Hedgehog movie version. And everybody getting all these collabs with Sonic the Hedgehog, Fall Guys, and all types of different things. He's just making so many different appearances. Why not Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl? Or maybe a new Nickelodeon game can have Sonic the Hedgehog at some point. And then with Goku, I think he's gonna be super tough. You know, he's an animated character from manga. One of the best shows to watch, one of my all-time favorites from Cartoon Network, watching it on Toonami. I seen Dragon Ball Z Kai. It's just so different though, because they took the blood out. So it's not the same, but it's still Dragon Ball Z. So they can probably potentially get Goku at some point, maybe as a super surprise character that we didn't expect to see. But him being such a stretch with Doug, Sonic the Hedgehog, that's just too many characters to really try to get access to. They don't have, I don't know, even if they don't get them, they still have all these other characters that they can get. But I just really think that they're really tough to really get access to because of all the rights and the things that they have to go through for negotiations and stuff like that. And I'm gonna just say this, Disney's so stingy, they just taking everything. So it's gonna be very hard to really even try to convince them to even try to get some of their characters. Well, let me know what you guys think of this wish list. You can post your wish list in the comments below if you want. I just hope that they don't settle with Rocco. I want them to bring more characters to the table, more updates, and just with these 30 characters that I went through, it's just so many more. It doesn't even have to be just that 30 characters, the 30 characters that I talked about. They have so many more characters that they could bring with more updates to improve the game.